that launch, spectacular. Getting into deep space and looking back on Earth. It's an incredible view. And then Journey to Mars leads us right to Mars orbit and with called Boots on Mars in the 2030s. But let's talk about today and this cargo resupply. We're carrying more payload than we've ever carried, and really critical supplies are going up. And so the crew are going to be really happy. I'm sure you all know that one crew's coming down December 11th, and the next crew will go up December 15th. So for increments 45 and 46, their supplies, and we have a lot of experiments going up. I'll talk more about more about the details of that later. But it's very exciting, and really excited that orbital on the Atlas V as well. It's an incredible rocket, good ride to space. And so just looking for a really successful launch today. I'm glad you guys joined us. Counting on you guys to get the word out and inspire the next generation and the next generation beyond that, and our generations as well. There's a whole bunch of different generations here. But thank you so much for what you all do, because it's really critical. Exciting what NASA's doing in terms of social media as well. I tweet now.
You can follow her. You should.
Right. So hopefully, yeah, Dava Explorer. So, please follow us. I'm a novice tweeter, I have to say. But I'm enjoying it, and it's all about, again, reaching as many people as we can, because we have the best story in the world to tell, and thank you all for helping us tell it. And again, just reaching down, it's all about the people, really. And here at Kennedy Space Center, if anyone is their first time to KSC, oh, great. Well, I'm telling you, been here a long time. This is my first NASA center I actually worked at. I taught here. I won't tell you exactly when, but suffice it to say it was in the 80s. But it was great. So all the way, a lot of great, just so much history here. Can you imagine, from the Apollo program to all of Shuttle? And make sure, please, to tell people that this is probably as busy and happening, as KSC's been. It's just incredible. We have all the private companies here. We have all the great NASA workforce. And SLS, is going to be launched right from here. And then you think you got to see all the pads. So it's really a new KSC, and it's really exciting. So I'm so glad that people are here for the first time as well. And the repeat visitors, hopefully you guys just keep coming back as well, right? Because every time you're here, it's fun. And pretty hard. You get to see the VAB as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scale's just unbelievable, right? I tell you, the stars, and the flag, I love it. Every time I'm here to see that, it's amazing. I have to tell you a story about the VAB. We sailed our boat down in 2012. I think we were 70 miles offshore. You can't see anything, right? Florida's like flat as a pancake. And I'll be darned, we got closer and closer, and that thing we could see, we saw the VAB from tens of miles offshore. I said, can you believe it? And so we pulled in here. It's just fun to have our sailboat, right here at Kennedy Space Center. But I'm telling you, from way offshore, before you can see anything, that VAB, sticks up. So I'm glad to take any questions you might have. I'm just glad to be with you this afternoon. Please, and tell me who you are too, so we get to know each other.
Okay. I'm Amanda. I was actually going to ask about the December 11th crew that's returning. How long have they been in orbit? And when they land, where do they land? And is that ever something that you guys, how you have the public at launches, are there ever public for, to congratulate them when they land?
Oh, you get to go to Siberia. So they're coming down in a Soyuz. So it's not too public, just because it's really remote. So the crew will come down, 3 crew, NASA astronaut, Japanese astronaut, and a Russian cosmonaut. So really nice international crew coming down. They've been in orbit since July, and so they're just finishing up their increment of space station. And then 3 new crew will launch. But there's 6 folks up on station, so 3 down and 3 up. But of the remaining is Scott Kelly. So do you know about his year-long mission? Yeah. So he's past 8 months. So he'll come home in March, and that's just incredible. And since he's an identical twin, we're doing the first genomic study ever from space station with his twin brother Mark. So they're taking samples. I keep saying, "What's the data say? What's the data say?" Well, we can't do it with biomarkers until the end of the mission to get all the samples from Scott and from Mark. So 2016, we'll be looking at data, genomics data from low Earth orbit that we've never had before. So really exciting, yeah, very, very exciting. And then the launch will also be from Kazakhstan. So they're going to go up on a Soyuz. So they'll land somewhere, in Siberia, it's a little far away, and then the launch will be from Soyuz. But we will have commercial crew, our NASA astronauts going with American companies just in a couple of years.
Yep.
So shoot in 2017. So we're going to have the American carriers taking our about our 4 commercial crew. I was just in Houston yesterday. So Sunny, Sunny was there. Saw Ed. They're working hand in hand with Boeing and SpaceX. They're just all working together, getting that advice. So those are the vehicles that they're going to fly in. So very exciting. So they've been assigned. They're training. They're getting ready, so we will be launching them soon. And it all, again, starts with today's launch, right? Our commercial companies getting our cargo up the station. That's the new model, We're working with our industry folks, get the cargo up there, get the crew. That's the next step. It's very exciting.
So, on NASA social media.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm Alyssa. I'm a radio host from Tampa. And on national social media on Facebook, they said in a few weeks or so that they're gonna have open applications for the crew space. Can you elaborate more on what you are expecting to find out of that and how many you want to take?
You gonna apply?
See, my degree is in communications. I'm gonna apply and just be like,
How many of you guys are gonna apply to our astronaut selection? Come on, show of hands. All right. So it's very exciting. We're ready. We have a great astronaut corps, but we're getting ready for more. We need more because of all the excitement. We'll be sending our commercial crews up, and then we're going onward to 6 lunar space, Earth and orbit. And so the requirements. To become a government employee. I can tell you about that if you want. I'm an academic. I'm from MIT. Academics. I just joined the government, so if I can do it, you guys can do it too. So the application is actually pretty standard because you don't have. But what we're really looking for, of course, is excellent, great stuff. It'll be of course for diversity, a mix of folks because the best teams, they're usually there's scientists, there's engineers, MD, the pilots, the military. Going through it always goes through its selections too, and then the top candidates, then the military gives to NASA, and then NASA has all of the applicants that applying for civil service, and we kind of meld them, so it'll be a mix of civilian and military folks by the end of it. I think we're going to break a record. That's my prediction. There was over 6,000 applications for the last selection, and we chose 8, 4 men and 4 women in the most recent crew, and I'm willing to say we're probably getting more than the 6,000. And I know all my former students are fine.
So I was wondering, if way further down the road, when say we were ever colonized Mars and things of that nature, would they ever take communications majors or things like that, not just STEM majors, to kind of branch out?
So I don't even call it STEM anymore. I call it STEAM. Because I bring in the arts and I bring in the design. Because I think going forward, you guys are journalists and you write the stories, right? That's what we need, right? How the space flight really, how you get to all the people. So we need you to write the stories, we need the photographs, we need, we're all in. And then I put D to not just be steamed, but to be steamed, very particularly because I see a whole bunch of little makers out there. And I want to make sure that they know if they're doing 3D printing and making and that sort of thing, those are the kind of people that NASA's looking for. Our space launch system, big rocket, guess what? We're using additive manufacturing. We're cutting time and cost so we can really use 3D printing. So, anyone who is out there is doing that, the signal is, NASA's interested in all folks. It's not just the engineers and scientists, but, we're better because we get people from all different disciplines. Sure, thank you. I look forward to your application. They don't want me to see them. Please.
David Childers. With the rise of the commercial enterprises, I know you guys work hand in hand with each one of them, but how much are you guys doing to get them to cooperate and not just compete from your side of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everyone can hear the questions? Okay, good. So, so in terms of NASA, we want everyone to succeed. That's why we're placing the bets. We're placing the bets, working with our commercial companies. So we got to facilitate it. Because again, we need everyone to succeed. Now, I think a little friendly competition, and some of the leaders of these companies are not shy, right? So I think a little friendly competition is good because that just makes everyone better. But your question is they really are working together because in terms of this is new territory. For these companies, spaceflight is new for a lot of the entrant companies. And so sharing best practices, really sharing what it takes, the certification, the safety, these are paramount. And so that's, in terms of best practices, we need to share that amongst the whole community. And that's where the government can help, right? Because we've been at this a long time. And so it's really good to make sure that we're sharing that information. And, when there's some mishaps, that's another, you learn, right? Learn more. We all know that. We learn more from failure. Failure really hurts, right? But you learn more from failure. So every time, then those lessons learned need to be spread through the whole community. It doesn't just stay with one company. You got to spread that out so that we can all get better and learn together. So it really is like it's friendly competition, but the collaboration, I think, is really significant as well. And just trying to make sure that everyone can succeed. I'll come back to you.
Megan, I'm an engineer at Stennis. I know in your past you've done some work with astronaut suits, and I was wondering if there was any follow-up work with that, and if that will be used anytime in the future?
Hope so. Question was about astronaut suits, and we need new astronaut suits for our for this journey to Mars. I'm not able to do research anymore personally, but the great thing is you're in good hands because MIT, where I was at, now former students from Minnesota and Colorado, Maryland, so there's a lot of university research going on to still, again, and that's what universities should do, push the technology and push us, push NASA. And so hopefully, optimistically, we have suits, of course, now for station, and they're really robust. I always call it the world, it's the world's smallest spacecraft, because you take a spacesuit, it needs every single system that the entire spacecraft has on it. So they're incredible, engineering feats that we have now. But when we think about the next step, they really need to be much more mobile, much lighter. You're an explorer, you're in a planetary environment. So that's a whole different kind of suit. So we got to push, make sure that the Mars requirements dictate really mobile systems, really lightweight, and the NASA work is really led out of Johnson Space Center, kind of the research and development, and that's what they're pushing, and life support systems. We have to look for not just the same life support systems. First, Mars is a different environment, but then what are some of the breakthrough technologies? So we're looking at that, and of course, we always wish there were more, but I hope to see some new great systems in the future. We'll keep pushing, and again, you all need to push us as well. It's fun to be looking at. I think Station is a great example. Now we can maybe demonstrate some of these technologies. Not a whole new suit, but maybe some of the technologies. I kind of think of it as like some of the hybrid systems. Let's test out some of these things on Station. Again, we have 9 years to do some of that testing, and so those would be key technologies: life support, maybe some suits. We're doing a whole bunch of Earth observations from Station as well, which is really cool. Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Stennis was fun. It was my first time I visited. I got to see the engine firing. I was 25. Very cool. Very, very fun. Did we go? I skipped you.
Sure, I'll go. I just wanted to follow up on his question. My name's Craig Newman, by the way.
Oh, are we related?
I don't know that we are, but
Where are you from?
if it gets you to look at my application, I'll say here. I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up. I wonder if you have a vision for 20 years from now what NASA's role is in the space program. When you talk about the commercialization, do they become more the operational arm of American or worldwide?
No. NASA, we're doing exploration. NASA is going to be out. I think that's what we should be doing. Looking out, doing the exploration. Other folks are better at operations.
There's a lot more freedom maybe in the private sector than a government agency sometimes, especially in the funding area. I just wonder how you see that dynamic working.
Well, look at the funding for industry. I mean, it's very, very small, very few percentage for our research and development. That's actually a very small part always of industry. They have a bottom line and quarterly, so what they're good at is good making great systems. But in terms of operations and things like that, we really look forward to the commercialization of low Earth orbit to kind of hand some of that off to industry, because frankly they can do it better than government agencies. But NASA's charter is exploration, science, discovery. So Journey to Mars. But again, we're out there in the solar system. Hopefully, you guys all new horizons. Pluto, we're just getting these unbelievable great images from Pluto. That'll continue. We're going to hit this year in 2016. We're going to go to Jupiter, right? the Juno mission, and so that's our charter. That's what NASA should be doing. Is looking out. I always say, then looking back on Earth, and we shouldn't forget aeronautics. Is the research and development. It's we like to say every time you fly, NASA's with you. because on every single plane, that's research and technology and development that was initially from NASA and then turned over. So that's a great example. You got to make those initial investments, and then we can turn it over to the commercial folks and fly it on the planes and things. But with air traffic management, reducing noise, reducing drag, those are just critical contributions that come out of actually, NASA's R&D. So we have to keep all that strong, is my opinion, and for the next 20 years as well. Going to the back.
Kurt Godwin, question on SLS. So what is the biggest schedule driver right now, I guess specifically for EM2? I think EM1 is still roughly end of 2018-ish.
Yep.
But I guess the reports have been that EM2 is kind of slipping from its original projections, but then kind of not, but kind of maybe. So what's the biggest schedule?
So, EM1, we're looking forward to, making the milestones, getting that in 2018, and then projecting out. We're still, we have to get, we have to get the funding and get the budgets, and then for EM2, the first crewed mission, depends on what we do with the exploration upper stage, need the exploration upper stage, and then getting in. So I'm gonna hold, say 2021. Again, we are meeting milestones. We have to meet the milestones and the deadlines, and again, it depends on the funding profile. But right now, they're meeting the milestones. So I'm looking forward to not just EM2, then 3, 4, 5. We're really thinking about what this cadence can be. Sure.
Hi, I'm Marty McGuire,
Hi, Marty.
backyardastronomyguy.com, just a little fun thing. But I've applied to be a 2016 Solar System Ambassador. What would be, and I have a goal of communicating that and helping educate my local community. That's my interest and my passion. So what would be the one thing that you would want kids today in elementary school to think about or dream about as a goal when they get older? How they can contribute? What would you tell the kids today?
First, I tell them that dream. Everything is possible for these kids, and we're fortunate. Kids all over the world. I was a solar system ambassador when we did our circumnavigation on our boat, and got to talk and teach kids all over the world, and they're all so excited. So thank you for for applying to do that. And that's it. You go in there, you have your your NASA badge on, you have them right away. And so the thing is, please tell them, make it a yes zone, empower those kids, say that yes, they can help us in our exploration, they can help us in our journey to Mars. And so I think that's what kids need to say. It's, hard and a lot of challenges right now. We have a lot of challenges in the world, global challenges. And if we inspire these kids to say, yes, this is for you, and you can help us, with these solutions. I think exploration and NASA's mission is just so exciting that I think we can get every single kid, but we do have to reach out to them and make sure that they think it's for them. Because I think we have to tap them, on the shoulder and make sure, say, come on in. So I think just making us a yes zone, and then we have so many examples, right? So then you can just, once you get their attention, you talk to them all day about did you know what happened today? Last week we have, not just water on Mars. Guess what? We found out from our MAVEN, do you know about our MAVEN, spacecraft orbiting Mars? And now we know more about where the atmosphere possibly went, Mars and Earth. And so there's just so many stories we can tell them. But I think first it's just grabbing them and saying, you know what, NASA's interested, we're interested in your education and your future, and getting you inspired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Orion has already flown, and SLS seems to be well in their progress. What's the next big project that needs to start to be able to make Mars in the 2030s?
Wow, next big project. We're doing more development now than we've done in 4 decades. So I'm not sure we need another huge project, but JWST would be my answer. Because JWST is, how Hubble has been, just earth-shattering, literally, right? Here comes JWST. So we're going to, but right now we're in development of SLS, we're in development of Orion. These are major development programs. And then with JWST, we always love to do more, right? But I think that's a lot of development going on in parallel right now. So those are really, those are the top 3 biggies right now. And then come back closer to home and why we're all here too. Space station, cargo and getting crew to station and making sure that we have the American companies doing that for us. So that's 5 at least, right? Thanks, they're all exciting, but yeah, it's flat out. Development is fun. That's what NASA engineers and people want to do. They want to get their hands dirty and be working on things, not, the NASA and the contractors, of course. So when you see SLS at 8.4 meters, 61 meters high, it's fantastic. It's challenging, but it's really cool to see it.
Hi, my name is Eric Brown. I'm with a host and producer of the Cosmic Cafe show. We deal with paranormal topics.
You have good coffee at your cafe?
I wish. But we do have a lot of followers that are MUFON people, UFO people, alien conspiracy people, and they're absolutely convinced that NASA has active programs to doctor photos and not release information. I just thought maybe you'd like to be brave and
I'm
touch
here
on
to
that.
say, I don't think
mind.
so. As number 2 at NASA, I haven't seen any of that. So
not
pretty sure
doctoring
that's
the
not
photos?
going on. We're pretty busy with doing our real work. And our real work, on the space station, you know, searching for evidence of past life in the solar system. Yeah, we're all in.
Yeah.
But that's scientifically based. And we are
Right.
looking for past evidence of life, yes. And other than that, you know, again, getting the station and getting our crews up there. So I don't know about any of that. So I can hear to categorically say, no, sorry, we're not doing that.
Well, thank you very much.
Despite their wishes.
From the number 2 at NASA. Now you heard it from here.
Hi, my name is Ines. I'm a future middle school science teacher. I actually just made up a teacherastronaut.com for my future students. And I wanted to ask you something in regards to the next lunar expedition. And are we going to hold training sessions for all the astronauts here in Kennedy Space Station like we did in the Apollo 11?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they'll be first from in Houston, our Johnson Space Center, because that's where the astronauts' home are, you know, kind of based. And so training really happens there, but then they go to all the different centers. So if we get here to Kennedy Space Center, then we're really flying things. And so then it's more about the training ops for the vehicles that they'll be in and the training here. And the SLS takes us to Earth Moon orbit. So that's in the 2020s. And talking, you know, the question for, that's our exploration mission. You know, so EM1 without people, then EM2 on, all carry astronauts. And those are the ones who are going to be in lunar orbit. So that's just in the next decade.
Very good.
Sure. And thank you for teaching
Thank
those kids. We need all of them.
Hi, I'm Alexis Stepien from the University of Michigan Aerospace Engineering Department. Brief question. So I do a lot of work with, obviously, the aerospace students who are really excited about this kind of stuff, but I also do social media that reaches people who at some point became disillusioned about math or science, that kind of thing, and don't necessarily want to hear about all the really cool things NASA is doing. So I guess my question based on that is, in the next year, what are 2 things that you could work on communicating to people specifically, instead of all of these grand NASA projects? 2 things to get people's attention.
So I'd probably start right here on Earth.
Sure.
You know? So depending on, you know, what, you know, if they're university students or more outreach students, then we have, you know, just saying the investment. It's the investment in NASA. That's just an investment in, you know, in the U.S. economy. So 1,800 spinoffs you can talk to them about. So there's something in one of those spinoffs that's going to relate to, you know, how they just do their daily life. So I think it's important to just kind of start here on Earth with what that investment, because, you know, maybe thinking about space, like you said, you know, maybe not everyone's going to just naturally go out there and, well, what's in it for me? So I like to think about here on Earth, just how are we benefiting their daily life. So a couple examples for you. From space station, the technology now, ultrasound, you know, we have handheld ultrasound. We needed that for our astronauts because you can't send up a big old ultrasound machine. Well, that's really critical to doing medical diagnosis. Another thing, you know, we're looking at bone, muscle deterioration, things like that. Everything we learn on space station, it has an Earth application. You know, what if we can really help? You know, we even think we know the mechanisms for osteoporosis because we're studying our astronauts. You know, so it's a laboratory, you know, up in low Earth orbit, but really the fundamental impact is how can we help, you know, the people on Earth. So technologies, the science, and again, coming up is the genomics. So, you know, personalized medicine, it's real, it's in the future, and, you know, we're there. And small sample size, you know, of 2, but it's a really important step because that's kind of the future. So maybe if people say, okay, down here north, what's in it for me? And so again, I think some of the technology, some of the medical health benefits that we can talk to them about, you know, it's NASA, but it's really working for you here on Earth as well, let alone the Earth observing platforms. You know, of course, we have 20 Earth observing satellites, 3 experiments right now today on space station. And so we're on space station, but we're also looking down. And this data is just critically important, right? It's COP21 just happened, you know, the world, these are really important. You know, we design, fly, and build satellites, And that's critically important, you know, then the data comes down, we don't interpret the data, we get the data, we get the facts, and then share that with other sister agencies, of course, NOAA and USGS, to take a look at that. So those are some of my thoughts on how we can bring everyone in. Hopefully there's something, you know, that we're doing that kind of connects with everyone.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Sure, and good luck to Michigan. We have important cargo, in Cygnus from Michigan.
Your cadre's
Yeah.
coming up today.
Cadre, yeah, exactly. So great experiment.
Other questions? We have time for one or two more here.
I do have another one.
Did you guys ask? Did someone not ask? You didn't ask.
Yeah, I have a question about storytelling. So, astronauts are up in space, giving people on Earth like a chance to see what they're up to via tweeting. Like, what do you think is a place that NASA can grow in terms of how they tell the NASA story?
Oh, that's a good question. So how we can grow?
New initiatives, new opportunities to get people a peek into what's happening.
Yeah, I think you know, we want to take everyone with us in these exploration missions. So that's the intent. So I think, you know, again, like, how do we do that? How do we engage? So a few happy astronauts get to make the journeys, right? But everyone's with us when we go to Pluto, right, for New Horizons. So that's a great example. How do we open it up and have people say everyone is coming with you? So we're flying these in this mission today. We're flying these new Microsoft, you know, whole lenses with it, right? Kind of 3D visualization. They had flown. They were intended to fly on the previous flights. You know, the mishaps. We're flying them again because that's just opening up. How do we open it up to the public and take everyone with us? And I think that's what we'd like to do. Make sure that everyone feels they're there. They're on space station with the astronauts that are there. When we get to Mars, it's not just for the 4 to 6 lucky astronauts. It's for the world to be there. So how do we tell the story that everyone can come and enjoy it with us? And we see that a little bit, I think, from the Mars rovers now. The data comes back. Do you know the temperature on Mars today? You guys don't know the temperature on Mars today? You gotta go onto this. So jump on our website.
It's chilly.
It's like -20 C's.
It's
really
chilly.
Cold. We think it's cold in Florida, right? So things like that. We're just trying to open up the data. We have data every soul when you're on Mars, right? But just trying to say, here's the temperature, here's the pressure, here's what's happening, so that we can just really take people with us on the journey. Yeah, thank you for the question.
One last question, I think, is where we're
I
at.
promise it's safe. In fact, I won't even record it. Just on a personal level, my wife is from Beijing, China, and so I'm very in tune with a lot of the Asian and Chinese community, and I'm just curious with their space program and everything, is there going to be a future effort to get our two governments? I mean, we take all their stuff and put it in Walmart. Can't we take their space stuff and put it in and work with them together? It just seems like it would make sense to have them join in with the Russians and with the French and the
Yeah, it makes sense.
Japanese.
We're saying this journey to Mars, no one nation and no one government does it. We're going to lead, and we're looking for partners. And that's, so to that point and we have a great framework from International Space Station, because it's fundamental, 15 different, 5 major partners from 15 different nations.
Are
And
they
so the
willing to join
future,
in with that on the International
so
Space
going
Station?
forward, I want to say, who's interested in what pieces. And so I think that it's really global exploration for the future. So those are the discussions we'd like to have. Our
Are they
Academy of
talking to
Science,
you?
yeah, our Academy of Sciences and the Chinese Academy of Sciences do a lot of work. Getting the scientists together is usually the best start.
Yeah.
Get people. We're all friends, with the Russians. I think it's the best thing we can say for U.S. and Russian diplomacy is NASA and the Russian space program. Right, we've been living and working together on station 15 years, nonstop. Things are going great. Huge respect back and forth.
Yeah.
So when politics, might even be more difficult and constrained, when it comes down to the people working in space program, we have a great proof of concept here, great proof of concept for international cooperation. And so I think that's the model going forward, looking forward to global participation.
So the U.S. government is making efforts to reach out to the Chinese
Well, we're
government?
prevented by law, actually, so to be real clear.
Oh, really?
Right now, NASA's prevented by Congress, by law.
Oh,
So we
really?
can't just reach out as much as we wanted to. But again,
that's
the
a shame.
scientists, our national academies, and in the aeronautics world, we work on things like, they're actually, asking for help and collaboration on air traffic management and looking at hazards and things like that, earthquakes, response, these kind of things we are able to work on together, and so we're doing that today.
Is there anything that we can do with social media to try and help put pressure on our government to maybe lift some of those restrictions? They seem silly. They're happy to take the goods from China and the manufacturing
Good,
from
yeah.
China. And we have so many Chinese citizens in the United States, especially California, you know, and also, I know
So,
noticed here in Florida.
yes,
there's
please
quite a
get
few.
please get the word out. You can get the word out again. So
Is
so
there,
we
like,
have
something in
limitations because we
particular
are.
We should like focus in on, or a particular group in the government that we should focus in on besides, obviously it's not NASA, so maybe,
Right, we're bound right now by law from Congress. So
yeah.
everyone would love to work together.
Yeah.
We know it's a good strategy for everybody working together.
Yeah, it would just seem silly not to cooperate, so we allow you to put your hand out and say, hey, would you like to work together? Well, thank you very much.
Yes, no problem. Thank you guys.
All right. So before David leaves, we're gonna try and grab a group shot with you.
All
if you
right.
Don't mind.
Right.
I'd love to.